Hello, farmers, and welcome to the harvest season. My name is Al, and it's just me this episode. Last episode was obviously a very busy end of year episode. I thought it might be nice this episode to have a much more calm, quiet look forward at 2021. Nice, free, easy thing to start off with. So, before that, I guess I'll go through the usual. I'll talk about what I've been playing. I'll go through the news. There's not a lot of news, but there is some news. Things are still happening despite it being the new year. And then I'll go through what's going to happen this year. There's a lot happening this year. Spoiler alert. And I'll also focus on what I'm most looking forward to out of the things coming out this year. So let's go with it, shall we? So recently, I have been playing a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders 2 because I got that for Christmas, so that's nice. I got the full game. I mean, obviously, I was playing the demo because we talked about that a couple of episodes ago. So I've been playing a bit of that. I've also been playing Monster Sanctuary, which was a game I kickstarted, and it came out, I think, November. Finally, we got the key. So I've been enjoying playing that quite a bit. I can't remember, did I talk about Astrobot on the last episode? I can't remember. I've played Astro's Playroom on the PS5. That was good fun. And I've started up Jedi Fallen Order on my PlayStation as well, which I'm excited to play through. I've not played much of it yet. I don't get a huge amount of time that I play on the PlayStation, but I will get to that at some point. Yeah, that's it. Not a huge amount. Nothing huge farming anyway. Keeping a reasonably calm in that just now. Getting through some games that I like that aren't farming games because they're not the only games that I like to play, believe it or not. Cool. So next, I'm going to go through the news. We have a few bits of news. So the first is quite a big bit of news. We in the last episode talked about Stardew 1.5 probably coming out by the end of the year. Funnily enough, it did come out by the end of the year. It came out before we released the episode, but after we had recorded it. So that's typical. It came out on the 21st of December. It's out on PC. On consoles, it will be coming out. I believe that Concerned Tape has said that he's hoping it'll be out by the end of January, but we'll have to see about that. And on mobile, it'll be coming out later. I believe that's a whole other team and publisher that deal with that, so that'll happen at some point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. On consoles, I haven't played it yet because I don't have a huge amount. I don't enjoy playing on PC, so I'm hopefully waiting for the console in a few weeks. I actually plan to play a reverse speedrun of the game. So listener Ryan got this in my head as an idea that what I should do is play one day of the game every day. So obviously that will be about 15 minutes playtime at most each day of that game. And I thought it'd be really interesting to kind of run like that and see where things go. So assuming that I'd managed to start by the 1st of February, I should have done in 2020 nearly 4 years, if I'm calculating that correctly. No, nearly 3 years. It'll be nearly the end of year 3. I'll be just entering winter of year 3 by the end of the year. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'll probably be playing a second playthrough as well at some point because I obviously want to see all of the 1.5 stuff, not very slowly. So we'll see where that goes. I'm sure we'll do an episode on Stardew 1.5 as well at some point. The biggest changes to that, obviously we've discussed a few of them before, but the biggest changes are the beach farm. So the big thing about that is that there's some extra stuff you can get, some supply crates, and obviously lots of ability for foraging and fishing, but you can't use sprinklers. So I suspect I'll probably use the beach farm for my reverse speedrun game. I think that would be the the most fun one to do. But we'll see what happens. The other things are that when you start up the game, there's some extra advanced options. You can change the community center bundles. There's a remixed community center bundles, which gives you other ways to do it. You can also had the ability to be able to complete that within year one, because I think by default there is a way. There's one bundle that has one item that is impossible to get until year 2. So there's the now ability to be able to guarantee you can complete it within year 1. Doesn't mean you will, but it means you can. Also some changes to mine rewards. I've not looked into that to see what that would be. And an ability to spawn monsters on any farm, which sounds fun to me. There's also the local co-op, the split screen co-op, which we've discussed before, which sounds fun for playing on the TV with some people. And there's lots of other things. There's some new people in the game. There's some new goals, new items, a new quest, some new character events, a new community upgrade, some more home renovations. Ducks can now swim in the water. You can sit in chairs. You can move your bed. That's a big one. There's fish tanks, some new furniture, some new secrets, and some more music. So yeah, there's a lot in this. I'm really excited to get stuck into it when it comes to the Switch. And yeah, we'll definitely cover that at some point. We need our annual Stardew episode, of course. Next, we have confirmation that Littlewood is coming out on Switch in early 2021. This news also came out on the 21st of December. But we don't know when that means. It could be tomorrow for all we know, or it could be, I guess, I would think early is probably Q1, something like that. But obviously don't get angry at me if it doesn't come out by the end of March. But we'll see. I am excited either way. I'm looking forward to playing Littlewood on Switch. Next, we have a release date for the game Lemon Cake. So this is a game about running a bakery. There is some farming as well, which is obviously why I'm including it. It's a really good-looking game, a really fun and cute-looking game. I'm really looking forward to playing this. This is coming out on February the 18th. Yeah, it's coming out on Steam. It's only coming on PC. But I will definitely spend some time playing on my computer to play this. That's how good it looks. Next, the game Ova Magica, which I've discussed before. We have a date for the Kickstarter. I believe previously we didn't know when it was coming. It was just that it was coming at some point. So we now know that the Kickstarter is launching on the 9th of February this year. So yeah, look into that if you like the look of it. I will probably be backing it. Depending on finances and stuff, I'll have to plan that into things. But that's my plan at this point in time. And the final piece of news is that Harvest Moon One World will be releasing on Xbox One, which we didn't know about before. So yeah. There's not much more to say about that. We don't have a release date for when the Xbox One release will come out. Just know that it is coming at some point. Presumably that means it won't be coming out on the same day as the other releases, because otherwise they probably would have said that. They specifically said a release date will be announced in the future. So that'll be interesting to see. And also interesting, I noticed in the blog post for it, the claim it is the biggest Harvest Moon game in its history. So that is interesting. It'd be good if that translated to good game. I guess we'll see what comes out of that. You'll know what I think. I like the idea of a big farming game. I'm excited about Pioneers of Olive Town, which is looking really big. I'm excited for that. Yeah. So that's all the news. As I said, not a huge amount, but a couple of big items in there. So as I mentioned up the top, I wanted to talk a little bit about the coming year, because there's obviously quite a lot coming out this year, and it'd be good to chat through that, and we'll we'll see where that takes us. I might be missing some stuff. I also might have some dates wrong. This is just a list that I have been compiling. I have a spreadsheet of all the farming games that have been announced and when they're coming out and what platforms. But I might have missed some information. I might have missed updated information. So don't complain at me if it's wrong. Although if you do know of information about these games that I haven't mentioned, please do tweet at us or email us, letting me know so I can update and broadcast that as well. So we'll go through, I think, the things I'm most excited about for this year, and then probably list the other things that are coming out. I should note that I'm excited for almost everything on this list. So the things that I've kind of tried to restrict it to a few things that I'm most excited about, which I think it is pretty clear which ones I'm most excited about by how much I talk about them. But I'm still very excited to play all of these games this year, hopefully, if I have the time and the money. We'll see what happens. So first up, we have obviously Stardew 1.5. I'm very excited to get stuck into this once it comes out on consoles. I probably said all I need to say about that one, but I needed to include it in the list. I really enjoy Stardew. I enjoy the updates that come out every time, and I enjoy talking about it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Next is Snacko. I am really looking forward to Snacko. Currently, it has a release date of August 2021, and we had the developers of Snacko on the podcast last year. I'll include a link to that in the show notes. They're really good people, and the game they're making looks really fun. It looks really nice. I like the fact that you're playing as a cat. The graphics are really good. It's kind of like a pseudo 3D world, but your character looks quite a 2D on it. I really like that kind of aspect. And I like that you're coming to an island to build up. It's like an abandoned island. It's not like an island with nothing on it. There previously was stuff on this island, and I believe there's like a mystery aspect to how it got abandoned, and there's explanation around that, and that's all very exciting to me. So I really look forward to this game. I think I mentioned in a previous game as well that so we've played me and Rochelle have played an alpha of the game. The organization of like moving things around was really intuitive to me and actually made me want to do that. In so few games do I actually enjoy moving things around the house or the farm or whatever. And so actually I'm really looking forward to being able to kind of make my house the way I want it to. So many houses just end up being, I'm just going to put that wherever, because I can never make it look like how I want to make it look like, whereas Snacko gives me the controls to be able to do that, and I'm really excited to be able to do that. So that's why I'm looking forward to Snacko. Next, of course, is the Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town. I always enjoy a Story of Seasons game, and Pioneers of Olive Town looks like it's going to be great. It's like the first like brand new Story of Seasons game that isn't a spin-off type game. Not to say that Doraemon wasn't good. It was a very good game, and nothing will beat its graphics. And how beautiful it looked. But I am looking forward to one that's kind of based on your standard Story of Seasons way, with hopefully lots of interesting new additions to it, but also with all the old ways of doing things. I really enjoyed Trio of Towns, but of course when I played it, it felt a bit dated. So I'm really looking forward to a more up-to-date one. And well. Really looking forward to that. Next, there's Littlewood on Switch. A little bit of a cheat in that it's not a brand new game. It came out last year, but it's not out on Switch yet. I had loads of fun playing it on the PC, but as I said, I'm not a huge fan of playing games on the PC. So I'm really looking forward to it coming to Switch so I can play it lots. And I don't think I've actually played the game since it came out in 1.0, so there's loads of stuff in the game that I've missed. So I'll get to play that when it's out on Switch. So looking forward to that as well. Next is Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, which is looking like a really fun game. yeah, I don't think there's a huge amount to say about this other than it just looks really good, and it looks fun. You play as a little turnip that you can grow weapons, and obviously other things, and you're trying to take down a corrupt government. Yeah, sounds fun. Coming out this year some point. We don't have any more information other than at some point this year. So hopefully at some point we'll get that, and I'm looking forward to that. The final of my most looking forward to is Garden Story. This was meant to come out at some point last year, but I think it was spring last year, but was delayed till this year because they got a new publisher and got an injection of money and were able to do more with the game, which looks obviously really good. I'm very happy about that. I'd rather the game was delayed a little bit and was a bigger, fuller game, more refined, these sorts of things. So, I'm really looking forward to Garden Story. It looks like a fun game. It's a fun premise with you're playing as a grape. And so that's quite a few games already, and there's a huge long list of other games that I'm looking forward to. I won't go into all of them in detail, but I don't want to miss any of these out. That's the problem, because they're all looking like really fun games, and this is a lot of games if I'm going to end up playing all these. There's Lemon Cake, there's Harvest Moon One World. Hopefully it'll be some half decent. There's Dayland Pocket Edition. So that's the game from the makers of Summer in Mara. They made a game called Dayland before Summer in Mara, and this is the Switch release, which is fun. There's Lens Island, which is looking like a really good construction game on an island, and obviously you farm as well. I'm really looking forward to that. The construction aspect of that is really exciting to me. There's Roots of Paka, which is a farming game, a prehistoric farming game. So you're a caveman, I believe. There's Alba on other platforms. It's coming to Switch and other consoles, I think, in spring. We don't have an exact date for that, but it's also coming to the PS4 and PS5 and the Xbox One and Xbox Series X at the same time. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks like a really, really enjoyable game, but it's currently only on PC and Apple Arcade, and I'm definitely wanting to play it on my Switch. So next is Rune Factory 5 is coming out. I'm really hoping that Rune Factory 5 does for Rune Factory that Animal Crossing New Horizons did for Animal Crossing, in that I could never really get into the old games, but I then end up playing the new one and playing it for a long time. So I wasn't a huge fan of 4S, but I'm hoping that the more up-to-date mechanics of 5, when it does come out, hook me in, because I kind of want to enjoy Rune Factory, but I just can't. Same with Animal Crossing before New Horizons. I just really couldn't get into it. So that, I believe, is still meant to be coming out in 2021. Yes, 10th of May 2021 is the confirmed date for Japan, although I don't think that's confirmed for anywhere outside of Japan, so it might be later in the year for us. In the West. Next is Sunhaven. This is a good-looking standard farming game. I don't think it has anything kind of gimmicky to it, but I'm looking forward to that as well. There's Village Monsters. The final release, the 1.0 release, should be coming out this year. That's where you're the only human in a town of monsters. There's Seed, that's CEDE, which is a game where I think you grow monsters to fight with. I can't remember. It looked interesting, but I haven't looked at it recently. That's another game that's coming out this year. There's Lonesome Village, which is a really nice looking game. They're kind of touting it as a Stardew crossed with Animal Crossing, crossed with Legend of Zelda. There look to be some really interesting dungeon mechanics to that, as well as your farming and town management games. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. There's Farmer Supreme, which just looks like a really fun farming game. There's a few interesting aspects to it, but it's mostly based in just kind of fun ideas. It's just the characters seem fun, the world seems fun, it's nice and colourful. Fun, it seems like it's not a word anymore, but it really is just the only way to describe Farmer Supreme. It just looks fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. There's Little Witch in the Woods, which is a game about being a witch in the woods, and you grow things and you cast spells, and yeah, need I say more? There is Coral Island, which is very focused on environmentalism, which I'm, obviously all for, and is an interesting looking game. I like the tropical aspect of that. I liked that in Summer in Mara, and I think I'll like it in this as well. Yeah, it looks fun. And finally, there's Mineko's Night Market, which I guess probably isn't technically a farming game, but feels like it kind of fits within the very broad bucket that we have in this podcast. So I'll count it for this. Yeah, so that's a lot of games. And there may well be more. There's quite a few games that we don't have dates for yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they came out at some point this year. But we'll take them as they go. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot. But yeah, that's 2021. I'm very excited about such a big year. I'm probably going to have far too many games to play, but I'm excited to play them all and chat about them on the podcast, and give you an idea of what is worth a look. So yeah, I hope to continue this journey with you all this year. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for supporting if you support the podcast. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is TheScottBot. Scott has 1 T. You can also follow Rochelle on Twitter. She is at Miss Delaney. You can follow the podcast at THS Pod. All of these will be in the show notes as well if you can't get spellings from audio. Like me, I struggle quite a lot. You can email us from our website, harvestseason.club. While you're there, you can also find links to various things, including our Patreon. This is a great time to get into the Patreon because it's the beginning of the month, and yeah, always a good time to do that. On the Patreon, you can get access to a chat where you can chat to us on Slack. You can also get access to our greenhouse, which is the additional podcast episodes that we make purely for Patreon listeners. They tend to be nothing to do with farming games. So that's what that is. And obviously you also support the podcast, which is very great. Thank you all to those who are doing that. I think that's everything. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, have a good harvest.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley, with support from our pro farmer level patrons, Kevin and Stuart. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Thanks for listening.